Thank you for tuning in today. We're delighted to have as our special guest Sara Mohsin of the Mohsin Mortgage Corporation. She's a great friend of ours on WROL and WEZE, and we don't always get a chance to tell you about her business because we're busy talking about buying and selling homes on her program. But Sara, I'm grateful that you're willing to tell us today a little bit more about yourself personally.
Well, thank you, Carol. It's always great to be here with you, and obviously doing the program daily. It has been amazing. We've been on the air for over 2 years, and we don't get a chance often enough to talk a little bit about what our company does and our services. But most importantly, we are really in the business of giving folks the information that they need in order to get the lowest interest rates in respect to mortgages, refinancing, or even purchasing properties. As we've mentioned, Carol, before, we do work with 30 wholesale lenders. We are available 24/7. You can always reach out to me for just asking the question of what we can do to get you into a better financial state. Our number is 1-800-662-9550, and our lines are open even through the weekend, Carol.
Tell us about Mohsin. Did your brothers start the corporation?
We both started the company, and we both worked towards building it out so that it can be a service to folks throughout the U.S. in respect to multiple states that we're licensed in, basically offering services that are unique in respect to the average American, which is what I look at myself as, the person that's working away, just trying to make sure that they can put their kids through college and have funds put away for retirement, but to do it better and smarter and more efficiently versus having to really look at, oh my goodness, we have all of these credit cards that we need to pay off. How are we going to be able to do that? Paying a lot more on your mortgage because the interest rate is higher, not having to go to a local bank and then literally be given maybe a percentage point higher on the interest.
Right.
Because, Carol, the long-term savings for your mortgage, that is your biggest savings. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars by having the absolute lowest interest rate.
Right.
And that's what we offer.
Now, this passion of yours about, helping people into a better financial situation, did you always feel that? How do you think that came about?
I literally started with my whole college years. I was going through this psychology degree, which is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a clinical psychologist, and I absolutely loved it. And I ended up actually graduating with political science and worked with the Secretary of State for Latin America and Africa, in Canada. So I was his political aide. And that certainly gave me an opportunity to work with people and understand the nature of building sort of bridges and relationships. And I certainly learned a lot from that. But from my background itself, my parents both were working with the government. So as diplomats, I moved around a lot as well. So I've lived all over the world. Wow. But I still have to say this is the greatest country in the world. It really is. I love this country.
Well, we can take your word for it. You know what you're talking about. Wow. And so your brother and you did you learn any other languages along the way?
Spanish, obviously. Took a little bit of French. And the fact of the matter is that we're all human beings. What I've learned from the travels and living in various countries is we all come from the same place. And that's very important, to be able to be in a place where you can also give back. And we've been involved with American Cancer Society. We do fundraising activities every year, run a race against Glenn Meekum. He's a great venture person who was a great entrepreneur. Yeah. And I think that as business folks, we really want to give back and participate within our community. And we encourage that with our folks here at Mohsin. And as I've said, if I can be in some way able to help or provide some sense of peace to families out there because they are going through some stuff in this economy, give them advice on their finances and give them some room to breathe because we're all struggling through things. This is one of the biggest things that I think folks do struggle with.
Yeah, well, we always get that sense from you, Sara, that it's a very personal thing with you. You're personally invested in your client's success, and I think that's very, very rare in the mortgage business, I have to say. I haven't come across that anywhere else.
Well, lending in itself can be very cut and dry because it is about numbers. I think that's important, getting the facts and technically understanding that if you have a mortgage that you're paying, let's say a 5% interest rate on, and you can get a 4% interest rate, that you are actually saving $100,000 or $150,000. That technical side is very important, but you also have to be emotionally involved. And I do get very emotionally involved with our listeners, with folks that come to me within the community to talk to me about the difficulties that they're facing. If I can be of help in some way, then I certainly would want to be of service. And that's how we operate here as a family-based business, to be able to help. I mean, we all come from the same place, Carol. So it really is important for folks to understand that you don't need to be so hard on yourself because of the fact that you made a few decisions that may have affected you financially. The game isn't over until you say it's over. So.
Never surrender.
Exactly.
Well, and too, I love the fact that you appreciate that our people are going to want to give back, as you do, and that they're going to want to program that into their budgets, giving to their churches and supporting local ministries, and also sending their kids to private schools. In a lot of cases, we have families that, they have to take their children out of public school because they just don't feel confident that the kids are learning what they want them to be learning and growing in the ways they want them to grow. So your sensitivity to that is really key for us at WROL and WEZE. You get where we're coming from, and that's awesome. I love it.
I do, and I really feel blessed to have yourself, Pat Ryan, and all these great people at your station on WEZ and WROL. The listeners have been fantastic. I really do stress education because I come from that background. My family, my great-great-grandmother actually started a school in Asia. It's still funded through our family, and it is giving free education to young men and women to make sure that they can get to the next level, because with kids that are coming from families that may be low income or cannot afford that education, they literally are kind of put in a position where they don't have a start, a positive start.
Right.
So we do that. My family has been doing that for years. It is funded through our family in Asia, and we continue to do that because education is key. Without education, you're really going to end up making decisions that are going to end up harming you.
That's right. Well, Sara, we thank you for your continued patronage to our people. You are a great resource for WEZE and WROL, and we encourage our listeners who've been just peeking into Sara's life a little bit today to join us for the program. Check out our program guides at WROLradio.com and WEZEradio.com. Find out when Sara Mohsin of the Mohsin Mortgage Corporation is on the air and tune in. And we'll look forward to seeing you there, Sara.
Thanks so much, Carol.